Okay, folks, formal welcome. What is it today? It must be Thursday. I thought it was Friday 2 days ago already, but clearly it's not. It's only Friday tomorrow, but you know, the way things are going at the moment, never too sure what day of the week it is. But we have confidence that we will be here at 8 o'clock in the morning, as long as it's a weekday, and have some fantastic discussions. So Lee, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, today we are talking about confidence. So what gives us confidence, especially in the light of current difficulties, but also, obviously the scale and the depth of what we're facing in terms of the pandemic is something that none of us have ever experienced before. But we're wanting to approach how we face these conditions with confidence, with the idea that confidence is what enables us to move forward, to make decisions, to innovate, and to create our own circumstances rather than let the environment dictate to us how we should feel or how we should behave. And so what is it that actually gives us that inner confidence that says, it is possible, I can do this, there are opportunities, I have the eyes and the ability to note opportunities, to build relationships and to make new things happen despite and in the midst of all these events and situations that are in front of us. And so I was thinking about it for myself and thinking, well, you know, am I confident? And if so, what has led to this confidence? And so I'm referring specifically to the inner confidence. So am I confident in external factors like governments and business and, you know, those things outside of me that they're going to fix the situation or arrive at some solution that's going to help us? I have very little confidence, I must be honest, in those institutions. And to me, that's not cynical. It's just a realistic assessment of what I've seen from the past. I grew up in Zimbabwe. That would, you know, I've just seen a succession of it's just been, so those things I don't have confidence. So where does my confidence come from? Over the years, I've realized I've had confidence in different things, and my confidence to learn is something that I've always felt I've been able to work with, and it's something that I still rely on, is that if I don't know something, I have confidence that I'll figure it out. That there is something I can read or someone who knows better than me that I can turn to ask, and that even if I don't know something, I'll learn it as I go. So that gives me confidence. I have confidence that I can overcome difficulties. I've had many hurdles and things that have come at me over the years, things that were unanticipated and tough. And so are those things that I just sailed through? No, I didn't sail through them, but the fact that I managed them, that I coped, that I found ways of building resilience in the midst of those difficulties gives me a confidence that whatever I face going forward, I'll be able to manage, and I will come out on the other side. And then the last thing I want to mention is I've also realized that no matter how difficult the situation, it's never all doom and gloom. There's always wonderful things that you find in the midst of these tough times. It's never all good or bad. That's how I find it always seems to be. There might be a different balance of each, but they're threaded in with each other. So if you open your eyes to see the good, to see the magic, to see the beauty in the midst of difficulties, it makes it all worthwhile, and you see things that lift your spirits and give you confidence to move forward. So those are my thoughts and ideas as I've been mulling over what gives me confidence. And so I'd love to hear from you. What gives you confidence, and how confident are you feeling at the moment? What do you need maybe to even feel more confident?
Great, thanks, Lee. Great introduction. So I'm going to switch up all a little bit this morning. So Nazipa, you definitely prepared for this morning. So I'm going to come to you first, if that's okay.
I'm not sure what prepared looks like. You caught me off guard, but I think for me, confidence works is more internal. It's a mental thing. I think I literally have to feed myself confidence. Like, I've got to say, girl, we can do this. And like, that's how I have to bring it out of me. I think it comes with a lot of affirmations. It comes with a lot of looking back and saying, we've been through worse. Come, there's been worse. We can get through this too. I think that's basically where I draw my confidence from. It has a lot to do with mental training for me. And yeah, that's as far as I'll go. Thanks.
Thanks, Nazipa. Right, Donovan, let's come across to you.
Morning, everyone. Yes, caught by surprise there. For me, I think the first thought that came to mind is, if you have inner peace, for me, that gives me confidence. Because that peace, it calms, all the storms, all the uncertainty, all the doubts, all the fears, and it gives me direction. So that's where my confidence comes from inner peace. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Donovan. I just want all of you to be confident that you never know who I'm going to pick next. So it's right. So let's get across to Edward.
Yeah, it's interesting because when the subject was first mentioned yesterday, I thought, oh, that's quite easy. And then I thought about it and everything came all jumbled up. And then, interestingly, I was watching a TED talk about something completely separate. And the person was saying that although our body language affects how other people see us, it also affects how we are. And if we act confident, we become confident. And she was saying, when you go to give a talk, then stand there, own the stage, look large, feel as though you're in control. And it was almost fake it. And she said, fake it until you make it. And then she said, well, it's not actually that, it's fake it about until you become it. So I think that is that thing about, if you assume you're confident and have a body language you're confident, you will be confident. And picking up on what Lee said about having experienced lots of stuff and got through it, I always remember a quote by a guy called William H. Murray, who was a climber. And he said that until you're committed, you'll always hold yourself back, you'll always stop from doing things. But as soon as you commit, lots of things happen to help you out. And I always remember that, and that gives me confidence when I go into something that's uncharted. I just remember that actually every time I've done that, things have always come along to help out. So I just keep that quote in the back of my mind all the time, and know that when I start something new, I might not have all the stuff I need, but it will come to me. And also looking back and thinking, well, actually, I overcame that. I spoke to a runner once on top of a mountain in a really tough race, and she was struggling, and then she remembered that survived an abusive relationship. And it just humbled me that she took the strength out of that to think, actually, if I can survive that, I can do anything. So yeah, having experiences and looking at experiences gives you confidence for the future. That's my sort of jumbled thoughts on the matter.
Great, thanks, Edward. Yeah, and that's one of my favorite quotes as well. I love that quote by Murray, so it's a good one. Right, Cecile, let's get across to you.
I think we're going to have a very short meeting today. Everyone seems to be surprised by getting you to talk. I don't have really much to say. I'm just thinking what one of my mottos is I always, when I'm in a difficult position, I always think to myself, don't worry, you've got 100% record of coming through this. You're still here. So that's one thing. And every morning when I do my prayers, I think I start praying with gratitude, and gratitude helps me to give me confidence that of the good things that I do have in my life, and that even if it's simple things like a warm bed and a house and food on the table and family that love you and little things like that, gives me confidence that you can tackle the day quite good. And in sport, I just think practice, practice, practice. Just last night, I was doing a new kata that I learned a week ago, and I thought by the end of it, hey, I'm getting on so nicely with this. I may just use it with my next grading. So repetition, repetition, repetition helps with sport, and probably with business as well. But yeah, so I really don't know. I really can't answer 100% what gives me confidence, but I guess it's, yeah, believing in yourself and the people around you believing in you.
Thanks, Cecile. Right, Stella, let's get to you.
Morning, everyone. So when Lee was starting to talk, then I just thought of something, and I wanted to share the story quickly with you guys. So what I only realized this morning, or maybe subconsciously I've known it sooner, that you know, I trust and I get confidence in the belief that there is an upper hand and God is watching over my life and guiding me, and actually is in control of your life because I'm a child of God. So I want to quickly tell you a story what happened. So just after my divorce, it took us long to sell our house. Eventually the house was sold, and I was looking for a place for myself to buy. So I went to so many complexes in the area because I wanted to live close to work. And I just didn't find anything that I liked. So the one Sunday afternoon, I walked into this house in a complex, and I was just, no, this is my place. I want this. And so I was walking down there, and then the agent, there was another couple that, while I was talking to the agent, a couple phoned, and he says, oh, these people saw the house, but they're coming back to put an offer in. And, you know, he's sure they're going to put an offer in. And then I just said, no, I must put an offer in now. So I put in the offer. And so this couple also came while I was filling in the forms. The other couple came, and they walked around, and the husband then filled in the offer. So anyway, off I go. And the next morning, as I walked into the office at MultiChoice, yeah, this woman comes in that I saw also making an offer on the house. And we said, oh, hi, and talked about it. And she says, oh no, she talked to the agent, but she's sure that they're going to accept my offer because I've got a cash deposit and they don't. So I said, oh, sorry, you know, but feeling inside, I'm very happy that I'm going to get this house now. And then, stupid that I am, I trust people. She says, oh, but how much did you offer? And I tell her, because I thought, you know, all the papers has gone in. And she tells me, and her offer was anyway lower than mine. So I thought, this is a done deal. So the next day, the afternoon, the agent let me know. He says to me, oh, no, sorry, the offer has been accepted by the other party. So I said, how come? And he told me, no, this woman went after we spoke, and she went and she changed her offer to a higher offer so that mine is not accepted. And I was so upset. And I said, if she can change her offer, so can I. So I went the next day and I changed my offer the Tuesday. And then the Tuesday afternoon, the people that bought our house, that offer didn't go through because they couldn't get the bond. So I had to go back to the agent and say, you know what, sorry, I cannot buy this house because my house still needs to be sold. Okay, so I accepted it. I was very upset because I wanted this house. So then eventually I bought the place where I am now. Also the same thing, I walked in and I loved it and I bought it, and I'm very happy where I am now. But then about a year later, the same woman comes to me. So I'm a chartered accountant, so I can do certifying of documents. So everybody in the company always used to come to me for signing off, and here she comes, and she wants me to certify something. And I said, and I realized, oh, she's selling her house. She's making a new offer. So I said, oh, what happened? And she says, no, that house was cold in winter, hot as hell in summer. It was just, it wasn't. And we decided to sell the house. And I thought, oh my word, you know, God was in control of my life. That's the only explanation I can give. So, and the same for my second example is my divorce. You know, when I went through it, it was the worst thing ever in my life. And now when I look back, I realize, sure, I've actually gained a new life and a new me, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. So I think one just needs to trust, you know, that there's higher power that plays in one's life. And just another quick thing, sorry, I talked a long time. What also gives me confidence is knowledge. You know, if you know what you're talking about. I know when I got my CA, that also gave me a lot of confidence. Yeah, so agree with what you said, Lee. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Stella. Kevin, let's get across to you.
Morning, everyone. Right, confidence. I think you've got to link confidence in my mind to belief and success. I was never confident in my younger years. I had to work hard to get positive and change my personality totally. But once you've got to believe in something that will help your confidence in it, and that in itself will then give you success, which will breed more confidence in it and what you've done to get there. I'll relate to what Guy said in the chat about do you have confidence in other people. My mentor in my business is, I have confidence in her with everything she does in the business, and she gives me confidence in every aspect and facet of the business that we're involved in. So yes, you can get confidence from other people, certainly. And I'll finish off with sharing a quote from me that Cecile reminded me of. No, Cecile's not here. Oh, she is. So I thought we lost Cecile for a minute. She mentioned about practice. It reminded me of a quote from an ex-Speedway world champion many years ago. And he said, I don't practice until I get it right. I practice until I never get it wrong. And yeah, that sums it up nicely. So yeah, that's my take on the day.
Great, thanks, Kevin. Solomon, are you finally standing still? Can you talk to us?
Good morning. Yeah, this is a very good topic. I think as far as confidence is concerned, I think Lee initially was speaking about inner confidence. So I know that the values that comes from from the Bible. I'm even going to put it a little bit different. The designer of every product, they always have got a purpose for that product, and then they give you instructions on how to use the product. And after you've gone through a manual of that particular product, you actually have got confidence that that which that designer has said about that product will be able to happen. So my designer, the very person who called me by name, who created in me, has actually given me confidence in a whole lot of aspects of life. So in terms of me knowing what my designer is saying about me and about the things that I need to do, that helps me a lot to be able to confidently run, because this designer has made me. So because he's made me, who am I to actually tell this designer what is my purpose? So the very words that God says about anything, about any aspects of life, gives me confidence to be able to succeed. I mean, there's a scripture in Psalm 125:1 that says, blessed are those who trust in the Lord. They are like Mount Zion that shall not be shaken. So that's my designer. And my designer says, listen, trust in my manual and trust in me. So as you do that, success and everything else actually is in front of you. And I've seen that over and over and over again. Yesterday night, somebody actually snatched my phone, and I wasn't worried about it. I actually had to let go, but I was excited that I was safe. So my confidence really is in the words that comes from every designer.
Great, thanks, Solomon. And I always find it amazing how you manage to pick the positives out of negative situations. So that's an inspiration in itself. Guy, let's get across to you.
So where I sit, I call it total confidence. And I break confidence down into a few areas. Just take a person who's in the corporate world, who's up the ladder, and he's totally confident, or appears to be, and then then he gets the bullet, gets retrenched, and he's got to go and run his own business. He's going to lack a whole lot of confidence for a number of reasons. And I'm just talking from experience. So I think your situation sometimes determines different people's confidence levels. And obviously your experience, knowledge, gray hair, and all that rubbish that goes with it, which is pertinent. And just deep down believing that you've got that inner ability to do X, Y, Z. And the next point is that you with a whole lot of confident people, their confidence rolls onto you or wraps around you and takes you with and sometimes improves your own confidence level. And that's what a whole lot of these type of meetings are about in one way or the other. And the bottom line is, do you want to be with confident people? And Trevor's put it in the chat box. Or do you want to be with people that are continually negative and not looking at what they can control? So to me, to have confidence, you need to look at what you can control and your mindset and how you move forward with that. And it's something, sometimes it's deep down here that gives you that. And finally, maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago, would I have wanted to have the confidence to talk to a president or whatever? Maybe not now. I'll talk to anyone. I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? We're all on the same level. So I would totally confident talking to anyone at any level. And a lot of people don't have that confidence. Thank you.
Thanks, Guy. Yeah, question comes to my mind: is it confidence or arrogance sometimes? So is there a difference? So that's a thought that cropped up as you were speaking there.
No, arrogance and ego, there's no place. Ego is edging God out, as Wayne Dyer puts it. So arrogance and ego, there's no place for it. So it's a fine line. That's why I always say total confidence. There's a fine line between arrogance and total confidence.
Thanks, Guy. Jesper, let's get across to you.
I'm so fired up with all my previous preachers who have shared their sermons there that I think I'll just make it short by saying amen. And I think, Solomon, you're literally the closest aligned to what I wanted to say about this designer. And I mean, just looking at fingerprints of the 7 billion people on earth, there's not one person with the same fingerprints. So, you know, that gives you faith that he who made you, and he also said he knew us before the foundation of the earth. So he sent us here for a purpose for this time period. So I totally take my confidence in the fact that I haven't made myself. I've been put here on earth for a purpose, but then I also relax in the fact that, you know, I don't know how long is my lifespan here on earth. And, you know, we are not going to do anything to unnecessarily jeopardize and make it shorter. But at the same time, he's busy with an unfolding of his plan during my lifetime, and the same for everyone else's. So just because I'm not necessarily understanding the phase I'm in doesn't mean he doesn't have a plan and a purpose for me. And with the purpose comes the provision. So that's pretty much where I find my, call it confidence and trust. And then it helps a lot that we don't go into this thing blind. We've got historic role models that dates back to 6,000 years of people who faced similar situations during various times of their lives. And we have now the benefit of looking back and read their stories. And then I think, Lee, you've said it about, you know, people giving you feedback, also strengthen your confidence when you don't necessarily always feel like you're in control of things. And I think with that comes, we have the sense that unless I can control things, I don't have confidence. And it's not necessarily true, because Stella also said that you don't necessarily control things, but yet we all have stories that we can share of looking back. We can see the threads of our lives, how it was all for a bigger design. So yeah, I think the final thing is for me, the relaxation that there's also in Proverbs a saying that commit your ways unto him and he will direct your paths. So it's a two-way street. So you have that inner prompting of doing something or being part of something, and then you commit it to him and you make him part of the journey, and he starts directing your paths. And part of that directing is to stop certain activities or stop certain relationships. And I think with that, for me, it just gives that strength that I'm not alone in this, and I've got a higher hand and someone with much bigger resources and knowledge that I have. And then finally he says, the work that he starts in you, he will complete it. So that final thing gives me peace that I don't have to worry about the outcome. It's done. He will complete it, and it will be a good job because he doesn't start anything bad. So that's my addition to all the other sermons preceding me.
Great, thanks, Jesper. And I'm always confident that you're going to surprise me. I never knew Armin had so many words in it, so it's quite an impressive one. So good,
yes,
Jeffrey.
Today is Sunday, so fantastic.
Good. Let's get across to Jeffrey.
Yeah, morning, everyone. Confidence. Listening to a couple of the stories this morning. When I was a young boy, my confidence and self-confidence was really, really, really low. When I came to South Africa from England, And I went to school. I went into what we used to call Standard 1. I can say that here. And yeah, of course, not ever being exposed to Afrikaans, that didn't help me passing Standard 1 the first year. So I failed that, and then did Standard 1 again, and then got to Standard 2, and then my folks sent me to CBC after I'd done Standard 2, and they decided, well, look, I'm not clever enough again, so got to do Standard 2 again. So before I'm even halfway through primary school, I'm already 2 years behind. And then, of course, a little bit further down primary school, my dyslexia was sort of identified, and the fact that I just really could not cope at school. All of this really, really, really made me feel very inferior, the fact that I couldn't keep up with the other kids in the class academically that were like 2 years younger than myself. Then I went to high school. And it was kind of a whole new school. And just during this period, my folks were sending me to extramural lessons and stuff like that for the dyslexia and the coordination and all the rest of it. And one day I was in this class and we ended up playing finger snooker. I don't know if you guys remember that game with like a board and things, and you would flick it. And I'd been playing finger snooker with a friend over the weekend. And I thought, you know, my mom and dad are paying a truck of money for me to do these classes, and it's a waste of money. That, guys, was my absolute ha-ha moment. Then I went to high school and I realized, well, you know what? Nobody knows me from Jack here. I can be who I am. Nobody knows that I'm not as brilliant as the others. Worked very hard. And that was the click over for my confidence. And then, of course, thereafter, you know, I could talk to people, I could do whatever. So, yeah, it's just kind of interesting. That just listening to people's talk this morning, that just kind of came, that whole thing from freaking 50 years ago, whatever the hell it was, all came flooding back. Thanks, guys.
Great, thanks, Jeffrey. Yeah, it's interesting sometimes how a moment can change a life, and I think you brought that across well. So, right, I think it's over to Trevor to wrap up, and then we'll end off for this morning.
Well, all I can say is confidence comes from being knocked down over and over again. So I've had, growing up, 1,000 smacks from people who didn't appreciate my pushing the boundaries a little bit more every time. But each time they smacked back, I tended to run right over them. So my confidence grew and grew and grew all the time. So I think confidence comes from actually pushing boundaries, taking action, getting negative feedback, reacting to that negative feedback positively. Almost, you know, you can either grow from it or you can allow it to drag you down. So confidence to me is just never-ending action, pursuit of whatever your goal is or your purpose at the time, and to see whether you can actually make it. And if I can refer back, man, if I had just started life in the last 100 days, and I dropped onto this planet like Mr. Bean, you know, and I stood up 100 days ago, and I met with a bunch of people who turned around and said, hey, let's put a little Zoom chat together. And why don't we do a virtual trade fair? Hey, why don't we just take over Africa? And then realize that yesterday we suddenly concluded a deal, and we now expanded to another domain, not called virtualtradefair.africa. It's now virtualtradefair.global. And we just did a R500,000 deal from nowhere. Because Mr. Bean just landed. This thing wasn't around here 100 days ago, while everyone else was turning around and saying, man, it's doom and gloom out there. What are we going to do? We faced the reality, and that reality allowed us to actually cement, and it's been cemented. Ivan say yes, the deal is done. It's a R500,000 deal, £24,000 from nowhere. And that's just the beginning. So, you know, I'm so lacking in confidence at the moment that I just want to shrivel up and disappear into my little Zoom camera. No, guys, we are stuffing around. There is so much opportunity out here. We've just got to go for it.
Come on.
Listen, I've got to shut up now.
Come on.
Ivan, please, just your version of what you saw is the deal. And listen, let me tell you about this deal. There are players in our own team that I don't believe understand just how big this deal is about opening our potential in future in the next 5 to 10 years. Even I don't understand it. I don't think, I actually do think Ivan understands it. So I can go for it.
Thanks, Trevor. After you told everybody we don't understand it, now I've got to understand it and make them understand it. So
I want to hear your explanation of what you understand about this deal.
I'm confident you're confident that I am confidently knowing what I'm talking about, which I clearly don't. So. No, look, I think it's a very interesting door opening exercise, which has happened here, and I think that's what it really is for me. It's a door that has opened on the world as a result of what we've done over the last 100 days, as Trevor said, and we really believe that it's going to change things up dramatically for us. And yeah, I don't know what more to say about that without getting into specifics, but it really has been a very, very interesting exercise, and it has purely been as a result of as Trevor said, us just doing it, just saying, let's do this, let's make it happen, and without any real hesitation, we've just put things together and taken one step at a time and made it happen, and it's opened these doors. So we're really, really excited about it.
Can I also say, Ivan, I'm absolutely confident we're going to get our hands smacked, we're going to get our heads smacked, we're going to come out of this thing like this and say, why the hell did we do it? But we'll be launching our next blooming shuttle to Mars as a result of what we learned from the exercise.
Yeah. Good. All right, fantastic. Thanks, folks. Lee, I'm confident that you're going to have a topic for us tomorrow morning, so let's hand over to you to wrap up for the day.
Well, you know, the thing about Wisdom's Chats is that it keeps evolving and emerging, and we talk about it as a free flow conversation. And so the one conversation leads to the next. And so we've been talking about confidence, and we've ended now with the story from Trevor and Ivan. I love even Jeffrey's story of this transformation of this this little boy that felt he couldn't do anything to saying, oh, I've got a clean slate. I'm going to be the person I really want to be in this new environment. And so my question for tomorrow is, if you have the confidence, or when you have the confidence, or as you have the confidence, what difference does it make? What are you able to do with confidence that you would not be able to do without it? So, and I'd love to hear some stories. I'd love you to say, well, when I did this, with this amount of confidence, or as I stepped in, despite the fact that I didn't have confidence, I still did it. And this is what emerged, or this is what happened. Or so it's about that stepping forward, that making something happen, that taking initiative, or whatever it was that made you move from where you were to doing something differently, to being somebody that you wanted to be, and what difference did it make? So that's my question, is what does confidence or moving forward in an attitude of confidence and initiative, what difference does that make in your life? And has it made? So in our lives and in the situation that we find ourselves in now. So I look forward to hearing your stories and your thoughts tomorrow about the difference that confidence makes in your life.
Great, thanks, Lee. Have a great day, folks, and we'll confidently see you in the morning. Cheers now.
And well done to the virtual confidence gang.
Thanks, Guy.
Go rock it. Go rock it.